I'd like to welcome you to History Day for Leadership Center County. This is the first of a series of what I'm calling video segments, which I hope will provide you with an overview of Center County history that'll enable you to appreciate the days to come in your Leadership Center County program. My name is Lee Stout. I came to Penn State as a student in 1965 and accidentally never left. I earned bachelor's and master's degrees in history from Penn State and a master's in library and information science from Pitt. I served as university archivist for 27 years and have been involved with planning and presenting for History Day since 1995. I'm also a member of the board of the Center County Historical Society, and I've done many publications and presentations on Penn State and Center County history, including books on both the history of the Creamery and the history of Beaver Stadium. No one can cover the history of Center County, which stretches back to the frontier days of the French and Indian War, in an hour or less. So I've selected these 6 topics, and I'll talk about them in individual segments. We'll begin with the geographical and geological basis for Center County history in this segment, and then we'll talk about the peopling of Center County, the development and impact of the iron industry, the post-Civil War economy, the founding of Penn State and its importance, and finally we'll provide some reflections on the future of Center County. Center County's geography and geology, that is, the surface topography and the mineral resources under the surface, have played a major role in the economy of the county, as well as its transportation and settlement patterns. In this satellite view, we can easily see the 2 distinct forms of topography, along with the Susquehanna River to the right, and the West Branch at the top flowing down past Williamsport to join the North Branch at Sunbury and head south past Harrisburg and on to the Chesapeake. Center County lies on the boundary between 2 of America's major landform regions. The southeastern half of the county is part of the Ridge and Valley province, while the northwestern half forms part of the Appalachian Plateau. The boundary between the 2 is the Allegheny Front, the western slope of the Bald Eagle Valley. This topography is the result of a series of mountain building episodes lasting tens of millions of years, which compressed and folded the sedimentary layers of rocks. These layers were then pushed towards the northwest and became a series of ridges and valleys that have been eroding ever since. Our ridges, like Mount Nittany here, appear to be steep-sided with narrow tops, but most are relatively flat-topped and wide, as you can see from this aerial view of the Bald Eagle Ridge on the left, where Interstate 80 emerges from the gap to join with the future Interstate 99 and head east. This cross-section of the geology between 7 mountains on the right and the Allegheny Front on the left shows the folding, breaking, and overthrusting of the sedimentary layers underlying Center County. Over millions of years, a succession of mountain building events alternated with periods where seas and wetlands covered what is now Pennsylvania. As the mountains eroded and beaches and seas moved back and forth, Pennsylvania received heavy layers of sedimentary sandstones, shales, and coals, alternating with limestones and dolomites. Perhaps 250 million years ago, the last phase of mountain building compressed and folded the layers of sedimentary rocks towards the northwest into a series of ridges and valleys that have been eroding ever since. In this view, you have to imagine the overlaying layers of rock from our last mountain range, indicated by the dotted lines. These were folded and then eroded away to form the Appalachian Plateau, stretching west on into Ohio. Our flat-top ridges are the remaining edges of beds of hard erosion-resistant sandstones and quartzites, while the valleys are underlain by more easily eroded limestones and dolomites, which also results in sinkholes and caverns. The lowest layers shown here, the Cambrian Gatesburg formations, are limestones laid down more than 500 million years ago, while the Tuscarora quartzites at the ridge tops date from around 400 million years ago. Most of the limestone mines and quarries at the bases of the ridges are from the same strata of Ordovician carbonates, also from about 500 to 430 million years ago. From these dates, then, you can imagine how much rock has eroded away. It is said that the ancestral Appalachian Mountains were as high as the Himalayas at their greatest extent. The early settlers found differing opportunities in the two halves of Centre County. In the Nittany, Penns, and Brush valleys could be found superb deposits of brown hematite ore, as well as dozens of square miles of limestones, the best good for both iron-making and agricultural purposes, while lesser quality could be crushed for and used in road building. With endless stands of trees to make charcoal, all the ingredients for iron making were present here, and once cleared, the land proved remarkably fertile for agriculture. In the northwestern half of the county, however, the sedimentary beds were tilted almost 60 degrees by compression at the foot of the Allegheny front, and as you travel up the front, north and west, they gradually flatten. The plateau at the top of the front is as high as 2,600 feet, and the Appalachian Plateau is covered with shaly soils that are too rocky for farming. Yet the tree cover was logged over for mine props and lumber, with hemlock and oak scraps left over for use in tanning. Much of the Appalachian Plateau consists of alternating beds of sandstone, shale, and coal. Nearby are also found deposits of clay suitable for refractory brick making and silica rocks from sandstones used for glass making. This concludes our segment on the geography and geology of Centre County.